One of the greatest players in college basketball history makes history with this bucket. Caitlin Clark breaks the Division I women's basketball scoring record, a trademark deep three for 22, 2 minutes into the ball game. Clark only needed 8 points to pass Kelsey Plum, and the Iowa superstar sets the record early in the first quarter against Michigan. More than 15,000 witnessing history at Carver Hawkeye Arena. Average ticket price $400. Fans will tell you, well worth the price of admission as Caitlin Clark makes history. The all-time Division I women's basketball scoring record. She made her first 3 shots, got a layup, then back-to-back threes, and now she has got herself the record. Get some instant analysis. Welcome in CBS Sports HQ college basketball analyst Erica Ayala. Erica didn't have to wait long. 2 minutes into the game, and she sets the record.
8 points, that's light work for Caitlin Clark. And, you know, she was feeling good bringing the ball up the court, found herself between 2 logos and went for it. Saw her pumping up the crowd immediately following that shot. And yes, there was a timeout so that the crowd and the PA could acknowledge her accomplishment. But the great thing about Caitlin Clark only needing 8 points to pass Kelsey Plum for the NCAA all-time women's scoring title is that we know now she gets to set the new record. It starts tonight against Michigan.
Well, and she's going to continue on scoring here. I mean, she's just putting up shots left and right. You and I are watching alongside people at home. She just hit another deep three. She's already got 18. I mean, my goodness. And we've got 3:30 to play in the first quarter. You want to talk about being in the moment, Erica. We are in the moment right now with Caitlin Clark. She's already got 18. She's made 6 of her first 7 shots.
She is absolutely locked in, and we knew that she would. So when they played Nebraska, she actually did get a record, just not the record everyone was talking about. She eclipsed 1,000 assists in that game to be the first woman in NCAA history to have 3,000 plus points and 1,000 assists. And we knew after that game, though, that she had a bad taste in her mouth because of the loss. A competitor like Caitlin Clark, records aside, you knew she was going to come into this game against Michigan absolutely locked in, and that's what we've seen. I think also Caitlin Clark is the kind of player that enjoys playing in front of a crowd, that enjoys playing in front of not only her home crowd as a student athlete at Iowa, but her home state crowd. There is a lot of pride, there is a lot of joy that she must be getting from being in this big moment game tonight.
She credits her dad for helping her with her shooting form growing up. She said she just wanted to shoot a bunch of threes as a kid, but her dad, who played college basketball, said, no, we're not going to focus on shooting the three. We're going to drive to the bucket, get in the paint, shoot the mid-range game. And then he allowed her to get further out and beyond the perimeter. When you hear these stories about how a family helps these young student athletes get to their dreams, and you talk about the people behind the athlete who makes history, put this into perspective for us, because, you know, when you talk about sports and players get, of course, all of the love, but it's the family behind them, too, that's doing the work and setting the groundwork.
Well, her father, like many of us who played sports, a family member, was your first coach, and that was no different with Caitlin Clark and her father. And if you hear Caitlin tell it, yeah, she was a little put out that her dad would not let her shoot from range. That's all you want to do, especially with someone with her physique. She wasn't expecting to necessarily dunk basketballs. She felt that shooting was the way to go, but her father put into perspective that you have to be an expert at the fundamentals. And actually, it was at Iowa where she started to get more confidence in her range because, again, she didn't have the physicality to play an inside game. And so as defenses would her out to the perimeter, the way for her to get her shot, to get her looks, was to build range. And so when you talk about family, the family gives you what you need, even if you don't know you need it in that moment. And that's what her father, as her first coach, gave her. He gave her an understanding and an appreciation for the fundamentals. He didn't let her take shortcuts at an early age, and now that's showing dividends. But we also have to give it up to the family members that you don't talk, in this case, basketball with, because they're there when your coach, who happens to be your dad, isn't letting you shoot three-pointers. And maybe it's your brothers or your mom or an aunt, someone, a grandmother. Asia Wilson in her book just recently talked about the importance of having a grandmother figure like she did. They put things into context and perspective, even outside of basketball. And so that balance that Caitlin Clark has had has made her not just the basketball player that she is, but the person that she is and continues to grow into being as a member of this Iowa women's basketball team.
If you're just joining us right now on CBS Sports HQ, Caitlin Clark has set the record, becoming the all-time scoring leader in Division I women's college basketball history, passing Kelsey Plum. And look, this is coverage you're not going to get anywhere else. We are in the moment right now. You might get an alert on your phone. You might get a little text message from somebody that she set the record, but nobody's talking about this right now except you and I, Erica. That is it. And when you talk about what she brings to the game, her impact, how would you describe it?
I think she's a modern day star. And that means a lot of things, because modern day stars, they have to be positionless. They have to know how to handle media at a younger and younger age. She has to be able to facilitate. I mentioned she's already got 1,000+ assists. She is really perfecting what it is to be a modern star, which includes having a little bit of swagger. You can't see me, she dishes it and she takes it. And that's what's been great about Caitlin Clark. There's so many things that people try to put onto women's basketball, but if you hear people like Caitlin Clark, the aforementioned in our earlier segment, Angel Reese, Aaliyah Boston, who's actually in the studio now because she's just finished her rookie year in the WNBA. They're learning at a younger and younger age how to do it all and how to lean into the business of basketball. And so whether Caitlin Clark opts to use the additional year of NCAA eligibility or not, her next step, whether it's continuing on with Iowa or off to the WNBA, this is going to be a fantastic basketball star to watch. She's got it all. If she can stay healthy, keep her head on her shoulders, the sky's the limit for Caitlin Clark. And she also loves giving back. She is already endorsed by Nike for her birthday. Caitlin Clark partnered with Nike to make sure that all of her teammates were swagged out. That's that humility. That's that humanity that she has. And you have to think that comes from her family as well. So I cannot wait to see, once her star rises even more, what she's able to do, not just for the basketball world, but for the community of Iowa, where she's from, and wherever she lands when it comes to the WNBA.
Do you think that she would play another year of college basketball with the eligibility? I mean, look, I know with NIL now, but it seems as if now this is the next jump for her.
I think, honestly, with the record in tow, again, she has a chance at 2 other Division I records this season. The only thing that would be standing in her way from moving on to the next level is how much she has a hunger and a desire to bring an NCAA championship to Iowa. And we will see where Iowa, we got our first look at the brackets just before this game between Michigan and Iowa went live. They are expected right now and sit in that 2 seed. So they're looking good in the tournament. And if Caitlin Clark felt that she absolutely had to have a championship, she's got, at least as of right now, 2 more chances at an NCAA title. That being said, with the way she's playing, with a draft stock that I don't know that there's anyone who would have her going below number 1. I think that you can hedge your bets. She can actually, even with NIL money, make even more money going pro. That is a big misnomer right now in women's basketball. Her State Farm, Nike, other endorsements that she has, they don't necessarily go away. If anything,
right,
she can capitalize on those even more. So if I'm Caitlin Clark, again, putting the NCAA championship aside, I think I would go pro. That being said, it's all a matter of what her values are, and she has a little bit of time at least to make that decision.
Erica, the first quarter has just come to an end, and I'm going to read you the stats. You probably have them in front of you because you're locked in like I am. 23 points on 8 of 10, including 5 of 7 from beyond the arc. 23 in the first quarter. In the first 10 minutes of play, she has 23 of the team's 33 points. The one thing she does not have, Erica, in her career is a 50-point game. I'm not saying she's going to get 50 in this game because that's a long way to go with 27 more. But if you just put up 23 in the first quarter, are we giving her a rest here in the second quarter, or are we just going to let the green light go?
I mean, it's really all about how Caitlin Clark is feeling. She's looking great, and the efficiency numbers are there. You're looking pretty good to take that over from what we talked about earlier. And I think you want her to be in good rhythm. That's great for confidence. Having a good rhythm, especially as a shooter like Caitlin, is critically important. Can she get a 50-piece? I mean, I see the sky as the limit for Caitlin Clark. She seems to really be locked in. We knew she was going to be coming off of that really tough loss to Nebraska. And again, she's got the crowd. She's got her family in the stands. The record, she's just adding to it. It's putting multiple 23 cherries and counting on top of this absolute fantastic night. I think you let her cook for as long as she's willing to be out there.
Her career high is 46 points set against Michigan 2 years ago. She's playing Michigan right now. Let's go full circle. Let's go for 50. All right?
Let's do it.
Let's go for 50, Caitlin. We're cheering you on. Look, we're going to be professional about this, but when you see players and athletes, college athletes, professional athletes have these moments, it's tough not to root for them. I know there's people that want to be haters and don't like specific players, especially if you're a fan of a certain team and you don't root maybe for LeBron or you don't root for whatever it is. But in this moment in college sports, and I know some of the purity of college sports is not as it once was with NIL and the money that is being exchanged. But these moments, this is why we love sports. When we see these players, these young men, these young women making history and putting the sport on their backs and making it something more than it is. Because we all appreciate the game, but what she's doing for it, as you described, it's incredible.
And I think, as you're saying, the beauty of sport, regardless, we're talking basketball right now, is that it gives us all hope that we can be great. You stay dedicated to something. You put in the work. As I said earlier, you respect and you honor what comes before. And yeah, sometimes you take some of it personally, but it shows us as humans that if we just lock in, stay focused, that we too have greatness within us. And there are a lot more people that can be successful at basketball. It doesn't seem that way, but that can be successful at basketball. But all of us have that greatness in us. And so, yes, watching moments like this, regardless of if Iowa is your team or not, these are just moments that actually bring us together, or at least have the potential to. And as far as NIL and the purity of the game, listen, basketball sports hasn't been amateur for a long time. And I think all the money that colleges are able to get because of their sports programs, I, for one, like that the athletes are starting to see a little bit of that. And this is something that is life-changing, that can really set up families, that can set up an individual. So I'm all here for it. We're watching Caitlin Clark, having a great conversation as sports fans. What's not to love?
Erica, preach on it. I appreciate you. Erica, we'll see you post-game here when the final tally is recorded. Caitlin Clark, the Division I women's basketball scoring record holder. Right now, 3,543 and counting. 26 points is what she has right now. There's a couple other numbers that she's chasing. Former Kansas Star Hall of Famer Lynette Woodard holds the women's major college basketball record with 3,649. And then it's Pete Maravich, who has the all-time Division I record of 3,667 points. So both of those marks are within reach here for Caitlin Clark this season. The regular season and the NCAA tournament all count towards her total points scored. And man, she is getting buckets on this night. The night she makes NCAA Division I history. Much more ahead. Caitlin Clark on this night, as well as full post-game reaction. We'll hear from Caitlin Clark, full highlights, and the moment that she made history in Iowa. It's all coming up on CBS Sports HQ.